Postmodernism has been a notoriously difficult term to define, and it has had a complicated history across various disciplines. Nevertheless, the idea largely emerged in the late 1950s in the humanities to indicate a sense of how a new cultural, aesthetic, and critical agenda. Some theories have treated postmodernism as an epochal or historical term, while others have regarded it as an aesthetic or formal characteristic that is not limited to a particular area. Postmodernism is the term used to suggest a reaction or a response to modernism in the late 20th century. Some people say that the period ended about 1990, but it's likely too soon to declare this period closed. While postmodernism seems very much like modernism in many ways, it differs from modernism in its attitude toward a lot of these trends. In literature, for example, it is used to describe certain characteristics of post-World War II literature, for example, fragmentation, paradox, questionable narrators, etc., and a reaction against Enlightenment ideas implicit in modernist literature. Whereas modernism focuses on central themes and a united vision in a particular piece of literature, postmodernism sees human experience as unstable, internally contradictory, ambiguous, inconclusive, with no one specific reality possible. Whereas modern authors guide and control the reader's response to their work, the postmodern writer creates an open work in which the reader must supply his own connections, work out alternative meanings, and provide his own interpretation. It's also important to mention that in postmodernist literature, many postmodern authors combine or paste elements of previous genres and styles of literature to create a new narrative voice or to comment on the writing of the other authors of their contemporaries. Kevin Brooks was born in 1959 and he grew up in Exeter-on, England. He studied psychology and philosophy at Birmingham Aston University in 1980 and cultural studies in London in 1983. Kevin Brooks has been in a variety of jobs before becoming a full-time writer. The jobs were as a musician, gasoline station, crematory handyman, civil service clerk, hot dog vendor at the London Zoo, post office clerk, and railway ticket office clerk. As a child, Kevin Brooks enjoyed reading detective novels. He writes most plots of the various books he has written around crime fiction. He likes mystery and suspense, and he also enjoys putting both of those elements into each and every story he writes in some shape or any form. He writes books for young adults, and many of which have crime and thriller elements. Two of his books form the Johnny Delgado series, like Father Like Son in 2006 and Private Detective in 2006. About his books, his first novel, Martin Pig, in 2002, a black comedy about a 15-year-old who decides not to tell the authorities when his alcoholic father dies accidentally, was shortlisted for a 2002 Carnegie Medal and won the 2003 Bradford Bowes Award. Also, his second novel, Lucas, which tells the story of Caitlin. This person falls in love with a mysterious boy with tragic consequences, and this book was published in 2003. Also, the book won the 2004 North Book Award. Joan Rowling, best known as J.K. Rowling, she was born July 31st in 1965 in Jade, England. She adopted her pen name J.K., incorporating her grandmother's name Kathleen for the latter initial. Rowling came from humble economic means before writing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, a children's fantasy novel. Her book was an international hit and she wrote 6 more books in the series, which sold hundreds of millions of copies and was adapted into a blockbuster film. In 2012, Rowling released the novel The Casual Vacancy. J.K. Rowling is the creator of the Harry Potter fantasy series, one of the most popular book and film franchises in history. A graduate of Exeter University, Rowling moved to Portugal in 1990 to teach English. There, she met and married to the Portuguese journalist George Arantes. Although J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series is finished, the author continues to work on more written works. The Tales of Beedle the Bard and collection of 5 fables mentioned in the Harry Potter book series was released on November 4, 2008.